The windows turned out not to be genuinely damaged. All the windows still had intact glass, but the glass was treated in such a way that it was not visible. Inside, fragments of glass were attached with specific shapes and colors, making it look like the only thing visible were the remaining glass shards on the windows. Yeah, I even took pictures from a distance, and I still felt deaf. Kaya replied, while digging her ear, her right hand still holding the relatively large camera. She was referring to Kyrie's loud and shrill voice, something everyone was well aware of. That's our Kyrie. Charlise briefly embraced Kyrie, exchanged smiles, and then snatched the small handheld fan from Charlise's right hand. Charlise allowed the item to be taken, as her intention was to give it to Kyrie. So the microphone must be good if my voice is so loud. Kyrie extracted a small clip-on microphone from her outfit. Her hair rustled from the breeze of the handheld fan she was holding. I think even without the microphone, your voice would be crystal clear. Charlise replied, adding a touch of humor. Not quite. Without the clip-on, the sound wouldn't be as clear. Kaya retorted, disagreeing with Charlise's statement. See, listen to the expert. Kyrie nodded at Kaya. In essence, your acting tonight was outstanding. Charlise responded, giving a thumbs up and placing her camera near the laptop that Cereza had been monitoring. Your acting was natural. Raylene praised briefly. To be honest, I was genuinely scared. Katarina looked like a real ghost, and it terrified me. Kyrie admitted that the previous scene wasn't just acting, some of it was driven by her actual fear. Others chuckled softly at that. It's understandable, I'd be scared too if I saw a ghost that frightening. Kaya responded. Was my face really scary? Katarina, still in her ghostly appearance, asked, carrying a bottle of drinks for Kyrie and the others. Aisha, the tallest girl among them, walked beside her. Katarina was a young girl with a cute face, typically gentle and soft, but occasionally displaying a childlike innocence that didn't match her age. At the moment, she looked quite terrifying due to the meticulously crafted ghostly makeup. Aisha, on the other hand, was a tall and sturdy girl. Despite her imposing physical presence, her courage didn't match her appearance. She was easily scared. Very, like a real ghost. Cereza responded while nodding. The others immediately grabbed their respective drink bottles, except for Cereza. I agree, I was genuinely trembling. Kyrie nodded in agreement. Who did her makeup? Aisha puffed her chest with confidence. You're a talented makeup artist. The result was perfect. Cereza complimented, giving a thumbs up. Aisha beamed with pride at the praise, clearly pleased with her work. We proud of you. Thanks for the drink. My throat was parched. Kyrie expressed her gratitude while opening the bottle cap and taking a big gulp of water. She didn't bother with a straw, she drank directly from the bottle. Be careful, you might choke. Raylene shook her head as she watched Kyrie drink in that manner, but Kyrie ignored her and continued. Raylene stopped caring and sat down, checking her camera. After serving drinks to the seniors, the two girls chatted lightly with Cereza, discussing simple and easy topics. Charlise sat on the couch and breathed a sigh of relief. Everyone was relieved because the filming had been successful, thanks to the hard work of everyone involved. It was rare for scenes to be shot perfectly. Usually, there were retakes and minor mistakes that caused some hiccups during filming. In fact, during a single take, a scene could be redone up to 10 times if it didn't meet Cereza and Charlise's expectations. Lucelyn joined the group as Katarina and Aisha left the gathering spot. The two girls didn't talk much to their senior members as they still had some tasks to complete. That scared me for real. I was terrified when I was dragged that far. Lucelyn complained and hugged Cereza playfully. Poor Lucy. Cereza stroked Lucelyn's head affectionately. Even though there were cushions, I was still surprised and scared. Okay, stop crying, your acting was perfect. I loved your performance tonight. Cereza continued to gently stroke her hair while offering words of comfort. She wrote the scene herself, but she doesn't like the role she took. Kaya mumbled quietly, teasing Lucelyn for her behavior. Charlise and Kyrie observed Lucelyn and Cereza, but they didn't comment. I actually wrote the scene where she gets dragged. Raylene spoke up, admitting it and correcting the situation. Kaya's gaze immediately shifted to her. Oh, that makes sense. She initially refused to do the dragging scene, but because we had safety measures in place and everything was fine, she agreed in the end. Raylene spoke softly, her expression indicating the process of convincing and assuring Lucelyn to take on the somewhat challenging role. In any case, the scene is really cool. It suits the story. It's better to be dragged than to suddenly disappear without a reason. Charlise spoke, agreeing that the scene was now fitting in with the storyline they had created. Want a drink? You sweated a lot. Cereza released the embrace and offered a drink from what Katarina had brought earlier, along with a small towel and tissue. Lucelyn accepted everything, drinking while wiping her face and body. You acted well, but who would have thought your body was heavy? It took 5 people to drag you earlier. Kaya pinched Lucelyn's waist, resting her chin on Lucelyn's shoulder as she spoke. You so bad. I'm not that heavy. They worked together to make it easier and the dragging process faster. Lucelyn defended herself, denying the fact because she felt she wasn't that heavy. It seems like we'll succeed in making this film even with a limited crew. Charlise mumbled quietly, slightly worried that their work might fail due to the insufficient number of crew members and the absence of true professionals to handle everything. What they were doing was based on the knowledge they had gained through their education. We'll definitely make it. Don't be pessimistic. This is a great and dependable team. Kyrie responded with a smile. Yes, you're probably right. I think I'll say a few words to them. Charlise stood up and clapped her hands to get the attention of everyone present. Once she had their attention, she paused for a moment before speaking. Tonight was amazing. The scenes were shot without any mistakes. Everything was captured in a single take. Charlise spoke, truly appreciating and praising the hard work of everyone. It was rare to have scenes go smoothly without any errors or shortcomings. Of course, this wasn't solely due to their expertise, but also because of the rigorous practice they had been doing since yesterday, which made them understand which parts of the scenes were right and what dialogues to use. Thanks to their hard work, all the scenes looked natural and flawless. You're all amazing. Thank you so much for your hard work. Without your assistance, we wouldn't have achieved such great results. Cereza added. More applause followed. All right, everyone. Since we're all tired and need rest, this marks the end of the day. Kyrie concluded, indirectly giving them permission to disband as the filming for the day had concluded. All the crew members seemed happy because, in the end, their work was finished, and they could finally rest tonight.